The ground was already breaking men before the battle even began. Boots sank deep into wet clay. Horses struggled to stand. Armor, polished, expensive, suffocating, grew heavier with every step. And somewhere beyond the narrow field, hidden in the pale October mist, thousands of English archers waited in silence. This wasn't supposed to be a fair fight. On one side stood the exhausted army of Henry V, outnumbered, sick, and retreating. On the other, the armored nobility of France, confident in a crushing victory. But by the end of that day, the field near the village of Agincourt would be transformed into something else entirely. A graveyard, and a turning point in how wars would be fought. To understand Agincourt, you have to begin with a decision that made no sense. In 1415, Henry V invaded France with a bold, almost reckless ambition: to claim the French crown. The campaign started with promise, the capture of Harfleur. But success came at a cost. Disease spread through the English ranks. Dysentery hollowed the army from within. Men weakened, supplies dwindled, and then came the march north. What makes this fascinating is that Henry didn't retreat to safety. Instead, he led what remained of his army, perhaps 6,000 to 8,000 men, across hostile territory, harassed and shadowed by a much larger French force. They were tired, hungry, many were wounded. But the real problem was something else entirely. They couldn't avoid battle forever. The battlefield of Battle of Agincourt wasn't chosen for strategy. It was chosen by circumstance. A narrow strip of land, bordered by dense woodland on both sides. Freshly plowed fields churned into mud by recent rain. A corridor that compressed movement, restricted flanking, and forced both armies into a brutal, frontal confrontation. From the outside, it looked like a disadvantage for the English. They were outnumbered, possibly 3-1. But Henry saw something others didn't: space, or rather, the lack of it. The English army wasn't built around knights. It was built around a weapon most armies underestimated: the longbow. 6 feet tall, carved from yew, capable of launching arrows with terrifying force. These weren't hunting tools. They were engineered for war, fitted with bodkin points, designed to pierce armor at close range. But the true power of the longbow wasn't individual strength. It was volume. A trained archer could fire 10 to 12 arrows per minute. Multiply that by thousands, and suddenly the sky itself becomes a weapon. But here's the problem. Arrows alone don't win battles. Position does. Before the French even advanced, something subtle changed the entire outcome of the battle. The English archers planted sharpened wooden stakes into the ground in front of their lines. It seemed simple, almost primitive. But it solved a deadly problem: cavalry. French knights relied on heavy charges, thundering horses crashing into enemy lines, breaking formations through sheer force. But those stakes turned the battlefield into a trap. Horses won't willingly impale themselves. So when the charge came, it slowed. It broke. It hesitated. And in that hesitation, the arrows began to fall. At first, the French advance seemed unstoppable. Thousands of armored men moving forward, steel glinting through mist. But then the ground began to take them. The rain had soaked the freshly plowed field. Under the weight of armor, sometimes over 25 kilograms, each step sank deeper. Movement slowed. Formation broke. Men slipped, fell, and couldn't get back up. What makes this moment so brutal is that the armor, designed to protect them, became a liability. Once on the ground, knights struggled to stand. The mud clung to them. Their own weight pressed them down. And behind them, more soldiers kept pushing forward. There was no room to retreat, no room to breathe. This is where most people misunderstand Agincourt. The longbow didn't need to pierce every suit of armor. It only needed to create chaos. Arrows struck horses, causing them to panic and collapse into advancing lines. They found gaps, visors, joints, exposed limbs. They disoriented, wounded, and slowed. But the real damage came after. When the French reached the English line, they were already exhausted, disorganized, and packed tightly together. The fighting turned into something else entirely. Close, suffocating, personal. There's a detail often overlooked in accounts of Agincourt. Many of the French didn't die from wounds. They suffocated. As wave after wave pushed forward into the narrow field, fallen men became obstacles. Others tripped over them. Bodies piled. The mud thickened with blood and water. Armor prevented movement. Crowding prevented escape. Men were crushed under the weight of their own army. And the English archers, once their arrows were spent, did something unexpected. They advanced. This wasn't part of the plan. Or maybe it was. English archers weren't just shooters. They carried mallets, hatchets, and short blades. When the French line stalled, the archers moved in, attacking immobilized knights at close range. From a distance, it would have looked chaotic. But there was a logic to it. The most heavily armored soldiers in Europe, trained for mounted combat, were now trapped, exhausted, and unable to defend themselves effectively. And lightly armored archers moved faster, struck harder, adapted better. This is where the balance of medieval warfare shifted, not suddenly, but undeniably. By the end of the battle, the numbers didn't make sense. Thousands of French soldiers lay dead, many of them nobles, commanders, experienced fighters. The English losses were astonishingly low in comparison. And yet, this wasn't a miracle. It was the result of terrain, preparation, and a weapons system perfectly suited to both. But here's the deeper truth. Agincourt didn't just change one battle. It challenged an entire way of thinking. For centuries, European warfare revolved around heavily armored knights, the elite, the powerful, the decisive force on the battlefield. Agincourt exposed something uncomfortable. Armor wasn't invincible. Nobility didn't guarantee victory. And discipline, positioning, and technology could overcome overwhelming odds. But the real reason this matters is quieter than that. Because even after Agincourt, knights didn't disappear overnight. The system persisted. The traditions held. Yet something had shifted beneath the surface. A recognition that warfare was changing, and that change wouldn't stop. Today, the land near Agincourt looks ordinary. Fields, trees, quiet farmland. No trace of the chaos that once unfolded there. But beneath the soil, the story remains. Fragments of arrowheads, disturbed earth, the subtle reshaping of a landscape that once forced thousands of men into a narrow space and decided their fate. What happened there wasn't just a victory. It was a moment when the logic of war revealed itself, not through grand strategy or heroic charges, but through mud, pressure, physics, and human limits. And on that cold October day in 1415, those limits changed everything. Silently, irreversibly, forever.